Welcome back to another episode of The Watch Monkey. That's me. Anyways, today we're going to be talking about my favorite type of watch, and that is the chronograph. And if you don't know what that is, it's basically the ones that got the 3 buttons, so you can use it as a stopwatch, so you can time things with it. A fairly useful function, and very cool. Makes for a very cool watch. The ones that we're going to be talking about are from one of my favorite brands, and that's Hamilton. And here I've got my little Hamilton airplane. These airplanes are kind of hard to get. You can find them on eBay, and typically these little guys are going for somewhere between $100 and $200, believe it or not. They're that expensive. And they were available with certain watches that you had purchased. And you can even get bigger ones that were used as a display prop for some of the dealers. But anyway, the 2 watches that we're mainly going to be talking about is one that's here, and that's the Europ chronograph. This is one of my favorite watches of all time. And then the other one, another really great watch, is the Khaki Piliot auto chronograph. And again, a great watch. The one that's the most popular right now, and it's very pricey, is the Intramatic, which is going for around the $2,000 US mark. The 2 here that I showed you, you can find these used on eBay and Marketplace and these type of places for around the $1,000 mark. So half the price or less, and you're getting basically the same watch, different styling of course, but it's the H31 movement in them, which is the 60-hour power reserve. The H31 is also based off of the Valjoux 7753, which has been around for a very long time. Great movement. Known all over for being very sturdy, very robust. Yeah, so I'm going to turn the camera around and talk a little bit more about these 2 watches and show them up close so that you guys can make a decision if you want to get a Europ or the Khaki Piliot or the Intramatic. But again, the Intramatic, it's a beautiful watch. I want one, but hell, if I'm going to pay $2,000 for a Hamilton chronograph. Okay, let's turn it around. All right, here we go. So let's do the Europ first. So this one here, this is actually one of my all-time favorite chronographs. It really is a stunner watch. For some people, it might be a little bit large. I'll go over the dimensions shortly. I'll actually measure it for you. But what a great looking watch. Now I'm just you can see here that the chronograph is actually running on this. I did that on purpose so you guys can have an idea what it's like. But here, all right, so once I hit this button, it's going to stop it. And then to reset it, I hit this bottom button here. So you're going to see it's going to zip back. So that's a flyback chronograph. And again, to start it, you hit this top button here. And that's going to start the chronograph. So I'll just leave it running for a little bit. But anyways, I'm going to flip the watch over and you can see the back. And here it gives you all the details that you need to know. So you can see the model number here is the H357560. And it's 10 bars water resistant. What does it say here? Sapphire glass. All that typical stuff. And it's the caliber H31. I don't know if you can see that there. Let me turn that around. So yeah, you can see it there. Caliber H31. And you can see that the movement is decorated as well. This one here beats at 28,800 beats per hour and has a 60-hour power reserve. So plenty of reserve there. So I'm going to do a quick measurement here. Here's my calipers, make sure it's zeroed out, and it is. And let's take a quick measurement. So you can see here the diameter of the case is about 46.2. So let's say 46. The length of the case, or the lug to lug as they call it, is from there to there, and that's coming in at around 48.5. And the thickness, now you guys got to know anything with a value movement is going to be fairly thick. It's not a thin movement. And this one is coming at about 14.15, let's say, okay? So, yeah, 15. And the width of the lug, or where you put the strap, is, let me get that in there. It's not going in so easy. I think it's 22. So the strap width that you'd want is 22. You can also get this on a bracelet. This one here came with a rally type strap and a, what do you call them? It doesn't matter. But anyway, it looks nicer on the rally strap. So you can see here, this is really a great watch, I think anyways. It comes also in another color, the blue, and it's also kind of a tribute to the original, which I think came out in 1972. Now those, if you can find them, boy oh boy, yeah, that's a treasure there. They're going for around $4,000 to $6,000, and that's really quite rare. And that's actually, the first chronographs came out in around 1969. I should correct myself. It's the first automatic chronographs came out in around 1969, and there's a whole story to that, and people argue back and forth who the actual company or manufacturer made the first chronograph. Some say it was Seiko, others say it was a Zenith, and then some will say that it was a collaboration between Hamilton, Breitling, and who there was another one there too that was involved in it, and it was a special project. But anyways, here's my other chronograph, and this is the Khaki Aviation automatic. And talking about a stellar looking piece, you know, the sapphire glass here is heavily domed. Let me see if I can get that better for you so you can see. Yeah. And again, a very thick watch. This one's actually a smaller watch, but I believe it's actually slightly thicker. And this one is a fairly difficult one to find as well. Now, both these watches that you see here, I paid under $1,000 Canadian for these. New, they're around 2,000 US each, somewhere in around there. So if you look around, you can find yourself some pretty good deals, but you can see that the Pan Europ is considerably bigger than the Hamilton Khaki Piliot. But both very nice looking watches. Let me turn these both side to side so you can see what I'm talking about. So you can see this one here is actually a little bit thicker, even though it is a smaller watch. I'll do the measurements for that as well for you guys. Let me get me trusty calipers. So let's measure the diameter of the case. And this one is coming in at 42, and let's say 42 and a half, more or less. The lug to lug is going to be shorter too on this compared to the Pan Europ. And this one is coming in at around 45.2. And the lug width is 20. So both are very easy to find straps for. Fantastic watches. If you guys have any questions about these watches, let me know. Now, as I was telling you, these two here, they've been around for a little while now. The newest kid on the block is the Intramatic. Same movement as these, just the difference is the styling. And I got to admit, though, the Intramatic is one beautiful watch. A lot of people say that it's probably one of the nicest looking chronographs ever made, which is subject to your own opinions. But yeah, it's a good looking watch, no doubt. But these two are fantastic looking as well, in my opinion. I'll turn them both over at the same time too. So you can see that these are both H31 movements, Both decorated the same with that 60-hour power reserve. Fantastic watches. I'll come in a little bit more detail on this one here, so you can see the model number in that. So again, it says H31 sapphire crystal. It's going to have the same water resistance as well. And there's the model number there. This one here is the H6466660. And yeah, I can't really say too much more about them other than if you're looking for a chronograph, Hamilton is definitely a good way to go. Now, of course, all the main players are making chronographs. Another great company for chronographs is Longines. If you've checked out their line, they're very good. Sorry, they tend to be a little bit more expensive than the Hamiltons. Are they any better? I don't think so. Hamilton really does make some great chronographs. There's a lot more models than what you see here. So again, if you're looking for a great chronograph at a decent price, you really can't go wrong with Hamilton. The H31 movement is fantastic. Highly recommended. Oh, the thing I should tell you about the Hamilton H31 or the Valjoux movement is that a lot of people complain, oh, they're kind of noisy and you can actually feel them spin. And that's true, you can. Does it bother me? Absolutely not. I don't give a shit. So I'll just show you what I mean. I'm going to give this a tap here so maybe you can hear the rotor going. I don't know if you guys can hear that or not. Sorry, I'm going to bump the camera there. So yeah, I don't know if you can hear that. And to set the time too, it's done with a plunger here. I should have mentioned that to you. Both of them are the same. So you just push that down with a toothpick or the special tool that these watches come with. It's a little plastic H thingy. No big thing about that. I just use a wooden toothpick on there so I don't scratch it up while I'm doing that. And that's how you set the time. Just keep in mind when you set the time, you're not in that danger zone. If you don't know what that is, look it up. When you're setting the date on these watches, it's always a good idea to be on the lower half of the dial the time. To play it safe, I usually just do it at around the 3:15 mark. So I'll set my hands at 3:15. That way you're always going to be safe. You're not going to muck up your watch by changing the date in that danger zone. So just be aware of that. Again, I'll give you a quick look at both these watches side by side. You can see this is the Pan Europ and this is the Khaki Piliot. This one is the bigger watch. This one is actually slightly thicker. And yeah, I think either of these watches, you're not going to go too wrong. Anyway, that's it for today's episode of The Watch Monkey. If you guys have any questions, please reach out and I'll be more than happy to answer them. So that's it for today. Please like, subscribe, and hit the bell icon so you don't miss another episode of The Watch Monkey. Take care, everyone.